Ever wondered how you'd fare alone in the wild, desolate Canadian wilderness? Picture this. You, the vast expanse of untamed nature, and the primal instinct to survive. Would you be able to adapt, to hunt, to truly live? Can you imagine yourself stalking a deer through the dense forest or facing off with a mighty ram? The thrill, the challenge, the sheer rawness of it all. Today we dive into a riveting story of survival and hunting in the Canadian wilderness. Imagine landing in the heart of the Canadian wilderness, with nothing but your wits and a hunting rifle. Suddenly, you're cocooned in a world of unspoiled beauty, where the air is as crisp as the crunch of snow under your boots. The vast expanse of the terrain stretches out before you, a seemingly endless blanket of dense forest painted in hues of emerald and jade. The silence is palpable, broken only by the distant call of a bird or the whispering rustle of leaves. This is the Canadian wilderness, a place where nature reigns supreme and man is merely a visitor. You're surrounded by towering pines that have stood the test of time, their lofty tops brushing against the crystal-clear sky. The scent of pine needles and damp earth permeates the air, a constant reminder of the primal world you've stepped into. As the small plain disappears into the distance, the reality of your situation begins to set in. The first night approaches, and the need for food becomes urgent. As the sun begins to dip below the horizon, painting the Canadian wilderness with a palette of oranges, purples, and deep blues, the urgency of the hunt amplifies. The quest for sustenance is a primal one, a dance as old as time itself, and it's about to begin. In the crisp, cool air of the Canadian forest, the first signs of a deer are usually subtle. A snapped twig, a rustle of leaves, the faintest trace of a path etched into the underbrush. Reading these signs is an art form, a way of connecting with the natural world that is both humbling and exhilarating. Tracking a deer requires patience and an understanding of their habits. Deer are creatures of habit. They follow the same paths, graze in the same areas, and return to the same places to rest. By observing these patterns, you can predict their movements and position yourself for the hunt. Positioning is everything. It's about finding the right spot where you can blend into your surroundings and have a clear line of sight. You must be silent, almost invisible, a ghost in the forest. You need to be downwind, so your scent doesn't alert the deer. Then comes the moment of truth, the kill. The world seems to slow down as you take aim, your heart pounding in your chest. The deer is unaware, grazing peacefully. You take a deep breath, steady your aim, and gently squeeze the trigger. The shot rings out, echoing through the forest, and the deer falls. The adrenaline fades, replaced by a deep sense of respect for the life you've taken and the sustenance it will provide. You've become a part of the cycle, a participant in the grand drama of life and death in the wilderness. With your first successful hunt, you've secured food for the next few days. This is just the beginning of your journey into the heart of the wild, but for now, you can rest, nourished and ready for the challenges that lie ahead. The wilderness isn't just about hunting, it's about battling the elements too. The Canadian wilderness is a beautiful yet formidable adversary. The weather can change in the blink of an eye, going from sunny and pleasant to a raging snowstorm. The key to survival is being prepared and knowing how to handle these unpredictable changes. Let's talk about temperature. In the colder months, the mercury can plunge to bone-chilling degrees. This is where the importance of fire comes into play. A well-maintained fire not only provides warmth, but also serves as a deterrent to wildlife, a signal for help, and a cooking source. The ability to start a fire with minimal tools is a vital skill that every adventurer should have. Now think about the importance of shelter. A good shelter can protect you from harsh winds, heavy snowfall, and even the searing sun. It doesn't have to be a log cabin. Even a basic lean-to can make a life-saving difference. Remember, the purpose of shelter is to retain body heat and shield you from the elements. But what about clothing? In the wilderness, it's best to dress in layers. This allows you to adjust your clothing according to the weather conditions. Remember, it's easier to cool down than to warm up. Your clothing should be insulating, breathable, and ideally, water-resistant. What about food and water? Hydration and nutrition are critical to maintaining energy and focus. Always have a method to purify water, whether it's a filtration system or boiling. As for food, hunting is an option, but also consider foraging. There's a surprising amount of edible plants and insects out there. Being in the wilderness, you're at the mercy of Mother Nature. It's a constant dance, a push and pull between man and the elements. But with the right knowledge and preparation, you can turn this dance into a harmonious waltz. Surviving the elements is as crucial as hunting, if not more. After all, you can't hunt if you don't first survive the night. Just when you think you've got it figured out, the wilderness throws you a curveball. The Canadian wilderness is full of surprises, and sometimes these surprises come in the form of unexpected challenges. Picture this. After a successful deer hunt, you're feeling on top of the world, confident, maybe even a little cocky. You're thinking, "I've got this." But then out of nowhere, the tables turn. Suddenly you're not the hunter anymore. You're the hunted. A mountain lion, stealthy and silent, has been tracking you. You don't realize it until you see those piercing eyes, reflecting the last light of the setting sun. It's a heart-stopping moment, a stark reminder that in the wilderness, you're never alone. Or perhaps the challenge isn't a predator but an obstacle. A sudden rainstorm, torrential and unrelenting, turns the terrain into a muddy, slippery mess. The path you've been following is washed out, and you're left to navigate through thick undergrowth, thorny bushes scratching at your arms, the cold rain seeping into your bones. It's a test of endurance, a test of patience. In these moments, quick thinking and adaptability are your best friends. You need to switch gears, change your plans, adapt to the situation. Maybe it's finding a tree to climb, or fashioning a makeshift shelter from branches and leaves. Maybe it's finding a new path, or building a fire to dry off and warm up. Whatever it is, you need to do it quickly, efficiently, and without panic. These challenges, these curveballs, they're not just obstacles. They're opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow, to prove to yourself that you can survive, that you can thrive in the wilderness. They're reminders that nature is unpredictable, that it doesn't care about your plans or your confidence. It simply is. So as you venture into the wilderness, as you hunt and survive and conquer, remember this. The wilderness will always throw you a curveball. It's up to you to catch it, to adapt, to overcome. In the wilderness, expect the unexpected. As your time in the wilderness draws to a close, one final hunt remains. The air is thick with anticipation, your senses honed to a razor's edge. The ram, a formidable adversary, is the last challenge you must overcome. This hunt is unlike any other. It's a test of your resolve, your adaptability, and the skills you've acquired during your time in the Canadian wilderness. The ram is agile, swift, and has an uncanny knack for navigating the treacherous terrain. Hunting it requires patience, strategy, and a keen understanding of its behavior. You start by tracking it. The ram's footprints, the nibbled vegetation, the occasional tufts of wool caught on a thorny bush, these are the telltale signs of its passage. You follow these clues, your eyes scanning the landscape, your ears attuned to the faintest rustle. The thrill of the chase is palpable. Each step you take, each breath you draw, brings you closer to your quarry. But this is not a race. It's a waiting game. The ram is cautious, always on the lookout for danger. A single misstep, a single sound out of place can send it bounding away into the wilderness. And then, the moment arrives. You spot the ram, its majestic horns silhouetted against the setting sun. Your heart pounds in your chest as you take aim, your hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through your veins. The stillness of the wilderness is broken by the sound of your gunshot. The ram falls, and a sense of accomplishment washes over you. The hunt is over, but it's more than just the pursuit of game. It's a dance with nature, a testament to your survival skills, a journey into the heart of the wild. You've tasted the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of a well-earned victory. As you make your way back to civilization, you carry with you the lessons and experiences of the wild. The wilderness has been your teacher, and the ram, your final exam. You've passed with flying colors, proving to yourself that you have what it takes to thrive in the heart of the wilderness. Surviving in the wilderness is no easy feat. Amid the towering trees of the Canadian jungle, we learn the pillars of survival: preparedness, adaptivity, and a deep respect for nature. Hunting, whether deer or ram, teaches us not just about the thrill of the chase, but the cycle of life and our place within it. It's a humbling yet empowering experience. But the most important lesson is to remember, the wilderness doesn't bend to us. We must adapt to it.